Morning, Andy. Andy Isco, Jim Feist for Proline TV on YouTube, the best channel there is for free information and lots of winners, lots of great insight. Is Scotty Shetler playing in his own world? I mean, that guy has been around for a while. That's a different sport, but I can't believe this guy. He just dominates.
He was not overly impressive early in the PGA Championship, but the pedigree shows through, and the back nine, especially the last, I guess they call it the golden mile, but I guess that includes walking distance between holes because the holes don't add up to the last three holes don't add up to a mile's worth of golf. So they must be. I mean, it's a cute little saying. I think they tried. I said, "Hey, the green mile. That sounds great. Let's work. Let's find a way to work it in there." And it turns out that I think that yesterday those were the three hardest holes on the course. But he showed his ability. He's got tremendous focus, tremendous concentration. He doesn't get flustered, and if you just look at it, he's almost methodical. I don't know that he's quite as talented as Tiger was at his peak, but he's accomplished an awful lot for a guy who's not yet 29 years old. His third major, two Masters, one PGA. And it was actually delightful to watch him because he's so good at what he does. And he does the one thing that we've talked about before. He's able to shake off adversity. He understands there are going to be times when you're not going to play the shot you want. You end up accepting that, okay, this will be where the adversity is. And the one thing they tell you, and they tell it to you in all sports, and golf especially, put the last hole out of your mind. And he's able to do that.
He can. And we have some baseball to talk about. Baseball was really great yesterday, and I'm really excited about it.
I'll tell you what, we had one of the most bizarre things occur over the weekend. Who would have thought that the Arizona Diamondbacks could score 12 runs at home against the Colorado Rockies and lose, and then the very next day the Colorado Rockies give up, score. Arizona scores one run or gives up no runs and barely wins 1-0.
Unbelievable. And the Rockies, the team you're talking about, is the worst team in baseball.
8-38, I believe it is right now.
That's absolutely incredible. Let's talk about what you might be spotting today as a possible.
Well, the one that came to mind is actually the last game on the schedule, and that's Kansas City and San Francisco. Bubik and for Kansas City, Robbie Ray for the 49ers. I'm thinking football already. For the Giants, both a pair of lefties who are having really outstanding seasons. They've been extremely solid. I think neither one of them has given up more than 4 runs in any start, and I think that was just once each this year. They've each made either 8 or 9 starts so far. And I also keep track. I have a way of rating the bullpens, and Kansas City and San Francisco have 2 of the top bullpens in baseball. They're both amongst the top 5. I think they may be amongst the top 3 in a couple of ways that I look at them. So, and neither team has been exactly bashing the ball of late. So I'm looking at this play, and I think, let me go back. It may have actually gone down. I hope it didn't, but I thought it was last night. But no, it's not quite there yet. 7.5. I'm showing a lot there with the under. Vig minus 20. I do see some 7s out there. Well, actually, I think those may have shown up at the start. They seem to have adjusted to the heavy Vig on the under. I'm looking at this as a half-unit play for the first 5 innings under and a half-unit play for the full game under. But let me just, before I feel totally comfortable about that, let me just see if I can find out.
What is the first 5 under on this thing?
Yeah, I would want to play it under. Here it is. Okay, it's 4. I'm very surprised at that.
Oh, that's way high for a 7.
Not only that, I'm looking, for example, Westgate 3.5 opened minus 20. It's now 4 under minus 20. Circa 3.5 now 4. Other places 3 and so places open 3.5. It's now 4 under, which seems surprising. surprising, but again, part of the handicap is the bullpen. The bullpen doesn't figure to come into play until after the 5th inning in this one, because both of these starters are capable of going 6, maybe even 7 innings. So I'm going to go with the half unit play under 4 for the first 5, and half unit play for the first game under the 7.5.
Okay,
That stood out.
let me ask you a question here. San Francisco is an area that can get some weather. What's the weather look like there?
Let me see. I haven't gotten the
That
latest
is
forecast on it.
one tip for all of you baseball
Yeah.
players. You have to look at the weather.
Yeah, one of the things with San Francisco, though, usually the weather would tend to favor the under. It's not like a Colorado or certainly a Wrigley Field or Boston, where if the wind is going out, it's going out at a pretty hefty pace, and it favors the dimensions. In Chicago, it's the weather off at the lake. In Boston, it's just the size of the ballpark, the little bandbox they have there. I seem to recall that most of the weather issues in San Francisco probably affect a lot of the wind that comes in off the water. Let me see if I've got any update on that right now. It is a late game, and right now they are talking about 17-mile-an-hour winds from the northwest, so I have to take a look to see if that affects it. That might explain the 4, but not the 7.5 or 7 for the entire game. No precipitation in the forecast.
17-mile-an-hour wind is pretty heavy.
It is if it's a steady, or if that's where they gust to. But then again, it also affects how the pitches come in, if that wind is blowing when the pitcher is releasing the ball as well.
True.
So I'm going on the fundamentals on this one. Both guys are in really good form. Other ones that stood out to me today that I considered, I like the way Brown has been pitching for the Cubs. They're going into Miami to play the Marlins, who had a couple of wins against Tampa Bay in a couple of poor pitching matchups. Looking at that one, Cubs about a -68 to -70 if you want to do the run line in this one. The Cubs are on the road.
I'd say the run line probably the right play there.
I'm sorry, the what?
The run line probably is.
It's interesting. It's still -105 on the under, even though it's only -170 on the road. So that's not a bad way to go. But Miami is they're not a horrible team, but they're a bad team. They're winning 40% of their games, 18-27.
Have we picked up a pitcher for Houston yet? Who's going?
I can't pronounce that. Let me take a look. Gordon. He's made 1 or 2 starts for them. Let me see. I did not come up with anything in that game for today because I don't have really a good sense of his form. Let me see what he's done in the it's Colton Gordon. He's made, let's see here. Looks like he's made 1 start. So in fact, he's only made 1 appearance. 4 1/3 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. So nothing exciting there.
You might want to look at Tampa there. They got a pitcher on the mound, 338, 338 ERA, 110 WHIP is not bad. 11 strikeouts in 16 innings against. I mean, that might be a good spot for the Rays.
It could also be, and Houston's not exactly been blasting the baseball this year. That total 9 seems a little bit high as well.
True.
Let me see. I looked at the Phillies, who, of course, have to deal with the new closer now. Sanchez has been pitching extremely well at Colorado. Let me see what the run line is on this one, because they're about a 240 favorite. So I'm guessing it's probably about -140 or -150. Well, they're showing 2.5 run lines. It's actually -160 to -165 for the 1.5. It's still -110 for the 2.5s, or even money in a couple of places.
I mean, I don't know. Have you ever laid 2.5 runs with one team?
No,
I've never done that.
I think we've never seen a team as bad as Colorado, 8-38, no. And they play in Colorado, a place where they gave up 21 runs in the game a week ago.
I know.
And then scored 14 in Arizona the other night in a win.
Well, this is a schizophrenic game.
Yeah.
Well, not that every sport isn't, but what's the Mets going to the bottom of the list? The Mets with Senga against Dobbins. I mean, what's that price?
Senga has pitched well for the Mets. He's probably been their bit most steady. Mets actually money has come in on Boston. Dobbins has made just a handful of starts in his debut season. The Mets opened about a minus a buck 40. I'm showing it down to as low as minus 125 somewhere. So you could have some edge on the Mets. I guess the question might be, and I don't think it really happens all that much because of the way that baseball is played and the fact that the major difference in the game from day to day is the starting pitching. The lineups normally remain pretty steady, maybe 2 changes depending upon lefty righters. But I wonder if they're thinking about the fact that the Mets are just coming off of that series against the Yankees with the Juan Soto going back to Yankee Stadium and everything. I don't really pay much attention to that, put much emphasis on that. And I would think that right now, the Mets at minus 125 is a reasonable play.
Oh my God!
Going,
Senga against Boston. Listen to these stats. Last 15 innings, Senga's got a 0.60 ERA, 140. Now 140 is a little bit high, the WHIP, but
yeah, that's the concern in Boston.
17 strikeouts in 15 innings. I mean, at that cheap a price against Dobbins.
My only concern is, and let me see if I can find this here as far as Senga, because I'd be concerned with the whip putting on bases. I want to see how good he is as far as giving home runs up. As far as I can't find that here.
Well, he has no home runs in the last 15 innings.
Well, then that lessens the concern because a 140 whip is high. That means you're basically putting on 3 runners every 2 innings. Well, that'd be 1.5. And of course, if you give up a home run with a whip like that, it could very easily be with at least one guy on base, and that could end up being fatal as far as the play is concerned. But yeah, if I don't know that I'm going to make that play because the others that I mentioned, I think another one I like is I like Baltimore now that they finally got a win yesterday. And it's often when you end the losing streak, you follow that up with a back-to-back win going up against a Milwaukee team that struggled, which I like a little bit better than the Mets. And of course, Baltimore is a slight underdog in the game. Hasn't moved much, but they have drawn some money. I'm showing it having opened at about 118. 115, and it's down a little bit lower to about 110 to 112 in some places.
So what we got so far is we had a first 5 under in Kansas City, San Francisco, with a little concern on the wind.
Yeah, and the full game under 7.5.
Right, and then we looked at the possibility of the Rays over Houston.
Yeah,
that's a possibility. And then let's see, go up here at the top. You can't lay 2.5 runs with Sanchez in Philadelphia.
No.
I can't even consider doing that.
Especially with Philadelphia coming off of the East Coast.
We like the Cubs on the run line.
Yeah,
that we do
against Miami.
Yeah. So Andy, just a little bit of a short card, or just nothing. We'll kind of speed through this. We got a couple other things to talk about.
Yeah.
So I think if that's it, we'll just close it off and go on to our other shows.
That sounds good. We'll wish everyone the best of luck. It's Mondays and Thursdays are tough days in baseball because the cards are generally limited, and depending upon how the rotations have fallen out, you don't really have any outstanding pitchers going today that you say I want to back. I would say that Bubic and Ray in San Francisco, Kansas City, that game, those are probably the 2 best pitchers as far as how they're pitching season-wise and current form going today.
Yeah,
and that's the one where the wind is a concern.
When you look at WHIP, I mean, you got to look at Baltimore's Kramer at 0.92, but
yeah.
Baltimore's been so goddamn bad, losing 6 in a row. They had a terrible season. But
I'd like to play Baltimore, but what you just said, given their record, and on the road against a decent Milwaukee team, that price seems very, very short to take Baltimore. It almost looks like they're begging you to lay the short price with the Brewers.
True. I'll be right back with you, Andy. Thanks, everybody. This is Proline TV. Go to YouTube, Proline TV. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. And we're going to come right back with a little bit of basketball. There's not that much basketball to talk about, so we're going to do that together on one combination effort. So here, right back with you.